I can't hear you right now. It says you have stopped my video. I think I can hear you.
Hey.
There we go. Perfect.
Okay.
You need to speak directly into it.
Just gonna test out screen share here.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice to-do list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's see here. So if I go into, present mode. Okay, so it's just the slides in. That's great. What are you seeing right now? Are you seeing?
I see your whole browser.
Okay, you see everything. Okay, gotcha. All right. So weird. I haven't shared from a Google Slides before, so just.
Oh, Google Slides. Got it.
Yeah.
This. Yeah, it's all right. Let's go with it.
Yeah, it's fine. I've got my notes here as well. It says that you've disabled my video. Is that right?
No.
Yeah, it says when I hit start video, it says you can't start video because the host has stopped it.
Oy, oy, oy. Give me 1 second.
No worries.
All right, I just made your co-host, but that you're as a panelist, you should be fine. I've never gotten that message before. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't quite know what it is.
Do you mind exiting out of Zoom and coming back on?
Yep, sure. Stop share.
Never seen that. I don't know if that's possible. It would make sense why it would be, but I don't know.
So if I go to Zoom.
Nothing, it won't be in there.
Well, no, because under webinars, the settings are different.
Oh, okay.
So if you go down here, host off, that's what it is.
Panelists off.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
that's just to start though.
No.
Oh, okay. I mean, you had your video on and it was set to off, so.
True.
You should be able to manually turn it back on if it happens again.
Have fun.
Hey, thanks.
Send me the link.
I did. It's in your chat.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Jeff, I changed the settings, so you should be fine. Can you change?
You can't start your video because the host has stopped it.
I have never seen that. Chris?
What?
He's getting a message that says you can't start your video because the host has stopped it. Are you Googling it?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I went under the settings and you should be fine. The video host is on. Enable practice session only. Make the webinar. Sorry, Jeff. I've never.
Go to the participants list.
Participants?
Yeah, click on participants. You should be able to both mute, unmute, and turn his video on and off there.
All right, here we go. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Hold on. Why is it doing? Why is it not letting me?
That I don't know.
It's not even letting me.
Hit make co-host.
Try turning.
Yeah, there we go. Same record.
Just in time.
Right, great.
Sorry about that.
No
Sick
worries.
background.
Oh,
Dig.
thanks. Yeah, it's not it's real. It's not a virtual one.
Yeah, I saw your slides. It's great. I'm excited. If you were to name drop who are like the top 3 most known talent you've worked with, what would they be? So
I mean,
can
like
drop on
Trevor
your
Noah, probably Kevin O'Leary, and like trying to think of some other bigger names that we've done stuff with. I mean, there's lots. Anderson Cooper, someone
Cool.
else. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, those 3. Man, they're all men.
Mm-hmm. I know. That's because I've made some offers on some pretty giant females, but it's been hard to get.
Oh, interesting.
Find on so many big offers.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Serena Williams, we've had a few opportunities for her that just couldn't. It's like just so busy. We didn't do speaking, but we got to host a VIP event with Ellen DeGeneres in Toronto, but I really can't classify her as like a client, but it was pretty cool. We booked the deal, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, nice.
Some other stuff like that, but yeah.
All right, so it looks like we've got a couple people. All right, awesome. So people will be rolling in.
Yep.
So we'll just go ahead and get started in a minute.
Sure.
If you have just gotten here, go ahead and just send a quick chat of where you're chiming in from as more people roll in. So you're up in Nova Scotia, right?
I'm in Nova Scotia right now. Yeah.
So we've got a guy on the call today that used to book talent up in like the Midwest area in his early days of college, and like did $50 deals with Fall Out Boy back when they were nothing. And like,
nice.
So it's like just such a fun niche that is changing so rapidly.
That's cool.
All right, awesome. Just give a minute to let some people come up.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, let's join a few.
All right, cool. So let's go ahead and get started as more people roll in. Generally, the first 5 minutes, people just kind of come in at the earliest convenience. So for those that don't know, my name is Hilary Corna. I'm so excited to see you and get to know you. This is a whole show envisioned around the concept of reimagining the restart. So what would the world look like, and what would business look like if we could start from scratch? If we could rethink business as we knew it, operations as we knew it, and society as we know it. And so I'm bringing on some people through my network. I love showcasing people that otherwise wouldn't be seen, Jeff being one of them. And in general, they have nothing to sell you. And so that's what also I love about these folks. They're not people with books or trying to book a deal or trying to promote something. They're just here with valuable content to share a new vision of the world. So with that, I want to introduce Jeff. Jeff works as co-founder of the Talent Bureau. If you haven't already heard of him, some of you have, and I will let him introduce himself, but I'm so excited for him to share about what he envisions the world to look like in a post-COVID world with live events, with sponsorship, with influencer marketing, and some of the concepts that fall under those range. So feel free to say hello, Jeff.
Sure. Hi. As noted, I'm Jeff Lohnes, currently calling in and joining Hilary from Nova Scotia, Canada. We escaped to our summer place out here on the ocean a few months ago, which has been a real treat. It's where we're from originally, and yeah, happy to be here and share. I guess to kind of layer on the reason we're talking about a few different things. From our business, Talent Bureau Works, was started primarily as a speakers bureau. We represent and book speakers for events and conferences of all types across North America and beyond. But in this, we also do a lot of celebrities for branded partnerships, campaigns, marketing, and play a part in across the spectrum of working with talent and celebrities in North America.
Awesome. And can you just give a little bit of a background to Talent Bureau?
Sure. Yeah. So kind of building on that, we've been in business under the Talent Bureau banner for about 4 years, or just over 4 years. Prior to that, my partner Jeff Jacobson had started it as Jeff Jacobson Agency, and really the business was founded to just focus on the future of talent. Again, rooted in our experience and our work as speaker agents primarily, but we now kind of place talent at the center of the spectrum and orbit around that in lots of different ways, be that branded partnerships, literary work, books. We've worked on film and television deals, lots of different things, supporting speakers in a more holistic way. We do a little bit of coaching, but mostly just helping support them and achieve their goals. And I think more and more those goals are quite diverse and come from a lot of different places. So we try and just help talent achieve those. And then very importantly, and very important to us, is help our clients on the booking side and on the brand side to get to the right talent for their events.
Awesome. So just because I love bragging on behalf of other people, and it's certainly, feel free to share a little or as much as you want, but can you feel free to name drop a few people that you've worked with that others would know? Sure.
Yeah, we've done a lot of events for some big names. We've done events with Trevor Noah, Anderson Cooper, Kevin O'Leary, lots over the years, lots of other folks from Shark's Tank and the Dragon's Dens of the world, and other major media personalities, lots of athletes I grew up loving. So it's a pretty cool part of the business, from Heinz Ward to people like Peyton Manning, different folks like that. It's pretty cool, the individuals you get to have access to and work with now after in this role.
Awesome. So there we go. All right. Tell me this. What do you see as the biggest myth in your industry right now? Let's just go straight into it.
Sure. Yeah. I think, for me, the biggest myth that we're kind of tackling right now, I think is the notion of just like, if we just put our event online, that will work. And I think that it's a good thing. It's a good thing that people have kind of, I think through March, much of March, people were just postponing their events or canceling them and just being like, cool, we'll do it next year. I think now the reality is set in that bringing 500 or 1,000 or maybe even 50 people together in the fall or in the winter is going to have a set of challenges, be that, policy challenges, and also just psychological state of attendee challenges, selling tickets, selling sponsorships, partnerships. So they've now moved on. We're now in May, and people are like, okay, I need to adopt, I need to adapt, I need to move to a digital or virtual event, and that's great. That's an important place for people to be. But I think that the myth is that, like, we can just host it online and that will work. And I think that it's a myth because it's not working necessarily, and a lot of work, like focus and attention and intention, needs to be placed on creating great experiences online, not just home experiences.
Yeah. So one of the things I tell my clients is every digital experience is a human experience. There's always a person behind it. And so to think that you can just kind of execute online is one thing, but tell me what you're seeing as some of the top 2 or 3 things that people are doing effectively with their online events that really drum up this experience.
Oh, good question. Yeah, I mean, I think it starts before the event. I think that again, attention and intention, designing the experience design is so important. And so I think people who are spending a moment, even if not hopefully lots of time, thinking about creating a true experience for people from start to finish, they're doing it well. They're at least capturing something.
Yeah, are you speaking on my behalf? Like, do you represent my company? Well, the point here is that there's things that happen before the actual event, and then there's things that happen after the event. And what we see a lot happen is that people just send reminders, and they think, well, if we automate more reminders, people will show up. and reminders serve its place in the world for sure. But the purpose is like thinking on behalf of the people going through the experience, what would bridge community, what would bridge connection and trust so that they want to come to the event.
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak to that in terms of what you see people do on the front end or on the back end that help actually turn out?
Yeah, I think setting, setting realistic expectations, setting, realistic expectations and setting ground rules. I've loved some events that I've been part of online that have had some ground rules, whether it's come prepared or, in certain situations, been on some great sessions that have been, mandated to have your video on because it's important that you, that everyone is connecting here. And some events, that's great. Obviously, this is a webinar where it's like, yeah, it's not about everyone participating and video being on, but in other sessions we've seen that, and the connections were really great. And if you let people not do that, they're going to not do that. It's much easier to call in and I can be on my couch or I can be outside or whatever else. But when we press people to show up, that's great. So I think setting those expectations, thinking about them, and thinking about what's right for you. That's not right for all events, obviously. Thinking about the platform, thinking about the accessibility of platforms and that you use, the technology platform that you use is an important piece of the puzzle as well. And some other, not just hosting in a way, not just being at a surface level of content. Again, all the things that bad events have as well, when you're just being sold something, or when you're just doing it to do it, to check a box or to try it. It's like, it doesn't work.
Let's talk about that. What are the worst things you've seen in the last 30 days with live events?
Okay, great. Yeah, great question. The last 30 days. Maybe I'll go back 45 days to when
45 days.
Up for a lot. So again, I participated in and it's fantastic. I participated in a webinar from a company from Norway. It's like what an opportunity for them. They would have never got my information. They were able to do this event that caught my eye in Toronto, and there's a chance someday they'll do business with me now because they've got my information. And so they can use that well to do it. But it was very clearly they were just doing something just to grab emails, just to get contacts, and that's fine. Again, for them and their goal, they got it from me. But then when you create a bad experience, I now yes, they have my email, but I actually have a negative taste about them most. So probably there's maybe in the vein of no press is bad press. That's not a terrible thing, that they do at least have my information, but they're actually going to have to get over a hurdle because they just put on a bad experience. And to that end, it was truly just, it was just a sales pitch, and it was just an interview that didn't go down it didn't uncover anything valuable or useful, really. I think I say that on behalf of all audience members for that particular event. It was just a very, very surface level conversation that didn't dig into anything, that didn't uncover the topic, which again, I think was, something around, critical conversations in these challenging times.
So I know you've got some goodies for us. So on that point, let's go ahead and dig into those, and I'll let you share the screen and share your thoughts with us.
Yeah, one second. I'm just pulling up my screen. Right, there we go. Should be. Right, I'm getting a settings little. Oh, there we go. So excuse my notes for just a moment here, and we will.
All right.
Show it. All right.
I love that. The world I knew. That's
yeah. So yeah, I've just prepared a couple of slides to kind of guide through a conversation a little bit, as from just notes that we had chatted about. And I think one thing to keep in mind is starting this first section just being on the future of the speaking industry, which was, although we've sort of morphed what we'll dig into a little bit today, this was the initial sort of spark for our conversation today. And I think as we talk about that, it's important to note that my world up until 3 months ago, my passion, my love, my everything was live events. It was bringing people together in person and connecting. I'm an extrovert. I'm a natural extrovert. That's what I love. This happens to be an image from TEDxToronto. This is an event I worked on a volunteer level on for many years up until just months ago. This is, again, I love this. I created this event, this image along with a wonderful team. So This
almost
isn't
a level of grief to it, like letting go, not being able to have those connections in live events anymore.
Totally. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I miss it. I love it. I don't. I went through. Grief is a perfect word. It's like I went through this moment of my moment. I think a month, a very long moment of grief, just being like, oh, I don't want that to be gone. I miss that. I hope that comes back. And then it took a lot of sort of deep diving, and not to be too philosophical about it or something, but just thinking on like, wow, no, there can be. These events are also so imperfect. They're expensive. That room, again, as a volunteer-led initiative, that room that you see was very expensive for us to rent. The production is costly to produce. The chairs, we 10% of people that attend complain about the chairs. The food has to be run on time and is different temperatures. Networking is, although you can be as extroverted as you want, but networking is awkward. Meeting people is hard at events. There's so many people are looking in every different direction. So like while we kind of more in the past, I think it's important, what I started to think about and what lots of other smart folks are thinking about is, wait, they were so imperfect. So like we've got a bit of a fresh start. We've been forced into this fresh start. How can we create something better in the digital version? And that was finally the shift in thinking that got me like, all right, I'm excited now to tackle the challenge of like creating better experiences, not just better online experiences, better experience period online.
Yes, love it.
Yeah, coming from this place of though, like, but hey, this was my thing. This is what I loved. This is what not just what I love, what I cared about, and can't wait to get back to. So let's kind of move on from there. And sorry, and I should say, our business as well, Talent Bureau is squarely at the center of this space. We pretty much, we never thought about it at the time. You do a SWOT analysis or something on your company, you don't really think about it, but it's like, wow, every single thing we do, and even our passions, even as a team, our passions all involve, are very high touch. We send speakers and celebrities to events with hundreds and thousands and sometimes hundreds of thousands of people. We book celebrities to do marketing campaigns that have 65 people on the set shooting it. It's like these things are fundamentally, not allowed to happen right now in many parts of the world and many parts of our country. So it's like, okay, it's been a big hit. So you've got to now try and think and evolve. So I tried to do some math to come up with an equation for what the future really for what the future kind of looks like. And this is what I was able to come up with. And it boils down quite simply, thinking about all the different impacts on like what the future of events and really coming back to like the future of the speaking industry. And I've got to reference my notes here a little bit to make sure I get this. Whoops, sorry guys. It's probably my mom dialing in. I think one of the to dig into it. So what does the future look like for the speaking industry? Well, it's for at least some time, and I truly do believe for a longer time than while the pandemic is active, let's say, it's going to be digital or virtual, if you will. It's going to involve, if you add to that, value, it's got to include more value. We on every end, it's people need to do more to win people over, to create great experiences. It's just going to happen. And I think in a key there, sorry, go ahead.
Just be clear, I'm looking at the acronyms to the left, the DVHW. So digital, value. Yeah, digital, value, HW, hard work. So, there's another thing about this is like, it's going to be, it's hard work. It's not going to be easy. Jeff Jacobson, my partner, has been talking about this a bunch. It's like, people need to like buy into the fact that this is going to be harder, not easier. And I think a lot of people early days were saying yes, like, yeah, I'll do a virtual event. And for the professional speakers that are out there, people who charge, they were doing them at half the price or whatever. But like, that's the wrong mentality, because you should be thinking about, I'm gonna do this. I'm not just saying you should be charging to charge a bunch of money, but you should be taking this on and thinking like, I need to work my ass off to make this happen and to make it great. So it's going to be a lot of hard work for a while. It's going to be a lot of hard work, and
and the platforms and what you need to deliver for value are different. So it's not going to become just repetition either. You know, we were in a pretty big cycle in the speaking industry. People were able to go out, deliver what they deliver, customize some and so on. But now it's like you're back to hard work and for quite some time. So that's the HW.
Here for a moment, because I want to go deeper into one thing that you said that really resonates and I think is highly relevant right now, which is value. I remember in business school and like just after business school, even at my time at Toyota, people would be like, you got to provide value for your customer. You got to provide value for customer. And I just always would be like, even after being top of my business school class and having this great experience at Toyota, I always struggled, like, what does it mean to provide value? And what I say to my customers is you want to over deliver so much so that people don't even think about the cost. So
Right.
in the event space, some of the things that I've seen, I'd love for you to hear or mimic what you've seen, but some of the things I've seen that people have done to provide value. The obvious one is a recording. Recording, limited time, you can watch later, or choosing to take an exclusivity part of it, exclusivity stance of there is no recording. You have to attend, but there's a recording way to add value. There's show notes. There's audio that you can listen to in the form of a podcast. So if you restructure the audio into bite-sized chunks, boom, that's a whole new value. If you feature the people, if you say, hey, we're going to showcase some of our guests, that's a value. If you talk about their companies, that's a value. And so it's like, what are all those things that you can do to throw above and beyond? It's kind of like when people sell books and they sell books in packages and they're like, well, you can buy a package of books for $299, but with that, you get the audio version, you get direct access to me, you get a group community to go to the point where you're like, oh, this $299 is nothing. And that's the stance I think that people have to take with online events, where there's so much clutter and supply in the space right now that you have to go above and beyond with like, what's all the great extra things that people get to get them to want to pay for it.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally agree. And I think, and going even a layer deeper yet in terms of value, just, I think that like how can your presence, you know, some people, if they were, you know, they were speaking at an event prior. So speaking to the kind of speakers now and this part, it's like, you think about what you know, and you're going to go share it. And that's great. And sometimes your presence and your storytelling, your natural storytelling, including your presence, can overcome the fact that like, it might be a week later when people realize she didn't really tell me anything new. It didn't really help my business at all, or she didn't really give anything new. But still, it was an enjoyable experience. But where you don't have that physical presence to lean on, you don't have the energy of the room to lean on, you don't have all those things, you can't get away with that as easily. The most marvelous storyteller, although they can tell wonderful stories online, they still need to give the goods. So if you're a business expert, if you're a consultant, you can't just tease out what you know, and you need to like give the framework of how you do things to people in the talk, or otherwise it's going to be a very mediocre experience. So I think just elevating the value, if you're someone who's gotten away with it, and that's okay. Like there's now history, you know, behind us. Like this is a new age. And so it's like, yeah, you got away with that for years. It was great for years. Even now it's like, no, we're in a new world. I must deliver value.
And that's what people have to think through the experience, in the sense that in a normal experience of a live event as we knew it, the speaker could rely on, well, after the talk, they go and talk to their friends about that talk. You know, you go and get a fresh cup of coffee. You're like, holy crap, that guy was so funny, or that woman was so inspirational or so insightful. And that is value. And that's not happening in an online event. They're not going and shooting the shit on the side by, you know, the appetizers plates. That's literally not happening. So when we think of a digital experience, like that piece of what normally happens in live events, even though we still use that title, it's not happening. And there's a culmination of other things like that.
Yeah, totally.
Take me more along. I know you've got some more ideas here. So hard work, and continue on your equation.
Keep moving on the equation. So the last piece of this first section was new platforms. Obviously, I think it's going to be a theme that we see going forward. Obviously, a few months ago, Zoom won the race. You know, they became sort of Kleenex of the world of virtual meetings and so on, in terms of most people defaulting to Zoom, and that's great. It's a great, fairly seamless platform. But I think, you know, we did an audit in late March on just, all right, let's get to know as a company, let's get to know all the different platforms that are out there. And we did a pretty robust search. And although we obviously didn't hit all of them, we probably were able to research and look at and play with 20. Today, that's like, we can't even put a number to it. It's like 60 that you can find easily, and probably another 200 that you haven't heard of. So new platforms. And the reality, again, for speakers, when we talk about the speaking industries, they're going to need to be flexible to those, because companies are going to, much like the venue they chose before, speaker didn't have say in the venue. They didn't have say in what they wanted. Hey, I need a podium, or I want a stage at this height because of X and Y, or I like people at table rounds versus square tables because I like them sharing. So you still have control of that, but the platforms itself, you're going to have to, as speakers, get used to many new platforms potentially. Again, noting that probably you'll have a few on Microsoft Teams and Zoom and a few other industry, leaders, but they will involve a lot of new platforms. What it's going to, what it's not going to involve, the minus in this equation, is travel. I mean, obviously for this phase of things, and even going forward, travel's removed from the equation, and that was a big part of a lot of speakers, personality and who they were. In a lot of cases, they were road warriors on airplanes a lot. That's changed, and so the dynamic and the approach has changed drastically as well for a lot of people. So we're taking that out of the equation, at least for some time. Meet and greets, often a big part of it, for more on the celebrity side, but even for a lot of speakers, even at a lower level, let's say, or non-celebrity level, not a lower level, at a non-celebrity level, are great on stage, but they really know how to go into a room, though, and probably still hit 60% of people. Even if there are 200 people, they still know how to make an impact with like 60% of people in a room, off the stage. And usually that's through the meet and greets and connection in that way, and inspiring things in people's minds, or sticking around.
Are you seeing meet and greets done with live events, like personal?
Yeah, like online live events, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, not in the same degree. We are seeing tons of, and this is where there's tons of value to be offered. We're seeing tons of opportunities for like those exclusive opportunities to connect. So we are seeing, like, after we've been booking these types of things, a bit of a VIP breakout room after the fact or whatever, but it's not. So those definitely exist. There's still those exclusive tie-ins are still important, but they're not scalable in the same way. They're not as high touch. They're not as, you've got to work with them.
Not actually a meet and greet.
Yeah, it's very minimally different from the other session you were just in, because still I haven't shaken your hand yet, Hilary. I haven't done, you're still just on a screen interacting with me, so it looks a lot like the talk you just delivered to me. So
totally.
Yeah, so kind of removing.
It's fascinating to me how that experience has changed, because in a way you could also say, if you think of the human element of it, if you're at a keynote and you're in the back of the room and Nicholas Sparks is on stage, who I've spoken along stage with, and all the girls are like, oh my God, it's Nicholas Sparks, I've read all his books, and he's this big on the stage, but you still feel connected to him. Then there's an irony, because when you're in front of a computer, his face, you almost feel like he's right in front of you. Right. And so then if you move from, hey, he was already right in front of me, to he's still right in front of me, it's the difference between in a real event. I don't know. It's so confusing sometimes. In the old world, he would be really far, and a meet and greet would get you close. So there's also the physical dimensions that are quite interesting to the meet and greet component.
Yeah, that exclusivity really mattered. And in creating those like really high touch moments were really valuable. Though you do touch on something that's interesting that I hit on later, which is there's also the notion of like, Nicholas Sparks is now in your living room in a way, which is pretty cool and pretty unique and pretty special. And I think there's, again, when done intentionally, there is the opportunity to create and connect in these really wonderful moments as well with talent, because you are kind of welcoming them into your home in a way. They're still on your screen, but it becomes more personal.
This is great, and I want to dig into something here, but I'm going to wait for you to finish this. So
okay.
Go ahead and get through your equation, and then we're going to go to a couple other things here.
The equation continues. So the last thing that we're taking away, or that I think in the future we're going to see less of, is empty keynotes. That's the EK. It's just,
thank God.
A time. Yeah, exactly. This isn't going to be a time for them to thrive. We've seen it over the past bit. We've seen a lot of shitty webinars and bad content and so on. But we're going to see like especially in the paid speaker business and so on, it's just not going to fly. There's going to need to be that high value. There's going to be good reasoning. There has been lots of demand, and I think there will continue to be lots of demand for not just like content rich presentations, but inspiring content, funny content. I've spoke about and worked on, and I'm still working on actively more things with comedians than ever, because there are just lots of clients just want to like have their people laugh a little bit. They know what they're going through, so they're trying to do really tasteful comedy for them, which is fantastic. So there's lots of different things being booked, but at the end of the day, like someone and it's not to pick on the world of the folks who have climbed Everest. Those adventurers have brought so much value to the world in so many ways, through the insights, through the lessons and everything that they've learned. But it's the person who's kind of like done something like that, but really hasn't crystallized great lessons from it, that is just not going to fly, because we're getting like, we're climbing our own kind of Everest right now. People are doing some amazing things to rise above this challenge. It's been wild. And so we're going to need more than just your story of you doing something like fairly remarkable to connect well. We're going to need that inspiration. We're going to need those stories, but we're going to need them told really well and crystallized with really great lessons that can help me continue on this battle as we manage kids and jobs. And
I really love that phrase, empty keynote. I've never heard that before, but that is just poignant.
Yeah, there you go. All right, getting to the end of the equation. So the last two pieces are again on the value piece. Take home offerings. So again, this is the after the event. This is like, a speaker, so lots of great speakers never needed to offer anything take home. They never needed to summarize some points from the presentation for the client or for the audience. But I think it's going to be really important and valuable to offer things like that. Now, the demand is going to be there, and to let it sink in, because your body language can't have it sink in the same way. Your physical presence can't connect in the same way. So to make sure, if you care about as a speaker that things stick, to make sure of that, you should be thinking about what are some of those take home value pieces you can offer. 5 bullet points from your talk, a story, a video. Maybe you've got the opportunity. It's really cool. You've got the opportunity to send a follow-up video now and get it in everyone's hands. That's an opportunity.
Turn your 5 major points into a poster that's downloadable on your website.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a great idea.
Come on, yeah, totally. So
PDC.
And PDC finally got a reference.
I can't read ahead of you. Like
What's that?
I like these acronyms because I can't read ahead of you. Normally in slides, it's like you're
exactly
already summarized. Now I'm like, all right, Jeff, what's PDC?
Totally, complete gibberish, yeah. And PDC is potentially deeper connections. And I think that's where it comes to something, you touched on it earlier. It's like there's what we can see. I think the future of the speaking industry is going to be potentially like deeper connections with clients. We're making, even though we're not in person with them, even though we're missing out on a lot of those connections, we're both with clients and audiences. Sorry. One sec. With clients and audiences, I'm gonna pause it just so you know, that's my mom calling, and she likes to call 3 times. So thanks, guys. That 2 more calls ring in within about the next 90 seconds.
Listen, moms take way priority than this show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's hard to
probably pick up the phone. Like the next time, if she calls again, Jeff, you're picking it up.
Yeah. We'll get her opinion on this.
So the future of the speaking industry, FOE, you are Matt. Tell me more.
Totally. So yeah, the potential deeper connections, that value, and then so that's future of the speaking industry. Really though, it bakes down to like the future of events and how great both speakers and event planners are going to make the future of events online, and that comes down to the sum of our ability to create great events. That's my little math equation that I created to explain this. But I think that really is what it comes back to, is that the future of the speaking industry is going to be predicated on the future of our ability, both speakers, agents, event planners, to create really remarkable online experiences. If we fail, if speakers are lazy and don't create really amazing talks online, if agents and folks like us who work in this space don't work really hard and push people on both sides of the equation to be great, it will be the future of the speaking industry is looking bad. And if event planners, are lazy or take the easy path or don't, push to really be intentional about how they design their events, it's not looking good. But I think and get excited about the positive side of this, which is that I think there are lots of people doing great work to create wonderful experiences online. And so I think that it's fantastic. And some of those things that it doesn't involve, like lots of travel and bad keynotes and so on, those are great things that can be removed. And so we're potentially going into a great time in this industry.
All right, so let's use this opportunity then to give a shout out to 2 or 3 of your favorite people that have pulled off awesome events in the last couple of months.
Ooh, great question. I mean, I'll start just because it's so fresh and was so fantastic. Last night, it's so this is a bit different than a keynote, but it's a podcast that we work with. So total plug of someone we work with is Sick Boy Podcast hosted an event last night for some of their VIP fans. Sick Boy Podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, so they're a group. They host a comedy podcast that's centered around health and wellness and disease and living with disease. So it's quite a funny piece. It's very serious subjects, but they take a funny angle and dive deep into subjects. And so anyway, they created just this incredibly embedded immersive experience for their fans last night. That was amazing. They had interaction. They had obviously tons of laugh. They had multimedia. They played a bunch of videos that were so on point and so dialed in, both for laughs and tears and just humor and nostalgia. They really touched on so many senses. They engaged at what felt like a really kind of intimate, personal level. The chat that was happening on the side was really like you felt like you were part of something. Again, I got to, if I were at a live event, I would only really know what's going on with the 2 people next to me. Instead, with the chat going on, I got to kind of feel the emotions of so many people. Was really
lent to their success. Like, did they spend more time? Did they think intentionally about it? Did they?
Absolutely.
What were the components they considered? Like, what lent to their success?
Yeah, I mean, they do live shows all across North America. Those live shows they've been like a great cycle for them. They pay well, they roll up to the venue, they know what to do. They've got some videos and slides that they often show. They do their thing. It's great. It works. It's very easy for them now, with the exception of the travel to get there, but they enjoy that. It's very easy to do. This was a ton of hard work. Like, they spent probably 5 days putting this together. And it's 3 people that host this thing. So it's like that's a lot of labor and a lot of hours, but challenging themselves to make it amazing. And that was it. So it was just the right song was playing before they started. The opening was well kind of curated and thoughtful and cool and funny. The videos that they showed, they had an intermission video, which was all these nostalgic intermission videos from like movie theaters back in the day, which just like hit this tone that was so cool, like so appropriate. Like, they really thought through the experience.
Cool.
Text overlay, things like that.
You said something that I thought was like really at the heart of it all, which is they appealed to all their senses. After living abroad for a long time, for those of you who don't know, I used to live in Singapore, worked all throughout Asia. But one of the things I always say about living abroad is it makes your 5 senses come back alive. Like, you hear new things, you smell new things, you see new things, you taste new things, you touch things, you see and touch plants you've never seen before. And like, you feel like a new human. Like, I just got chills just saying that again.
Yeah.
With digital events, which is so crucial, is you can't just take an event and cut and paste digital. You have to think through that. Again, there's always a human behind every digital experience. Every digital experience is still a human experience. So how can you really capture those senses to engage the full body and the full physical experience of that person? And that's what people remember. That's what people talk about. They tell their friends. They are emotionally tied to it. And then you get better at business outcomes. You get better turnout. You get people that stay on longer. You get people that show up for the next one. And that's how those things are tied, which is really a hard thing to see because it's purely subjective.
Totally. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. And the intention, again, thinking about that was so great. So that would be it was truly a wonderful experience that I thought was fantastic. Another, you had asked about 3. I'd say one more that I think stands out to me was was just sort of a little bit more of like a networking of a networking lunch that I did where they really utilized well like breakout rooms, and I just thought that was a fantastic use of breakout room space, and like just fostering really good dialogue in those breakout rooms, and the key there I believe was with that was like, and actually I had this conversation with again Jeff Jacobson the other day, was around the quality of those conversations is entirely, it doesn't matter who the people are in the room, you know, because you can get antisocial people, you can get different things, but it comes back to how good the questions are that you ask. And I think that's the key thing. And so you've got to really challenge yourself. You can't just send people off into a breakout room who don't know each other, who are in this digital space. You've got to really think about asking the right questions, and then it doesn't matter who's in the room. The conversation will be fantastic. So I think that was another that took part in a great networking lunch that was put on by a client, and it was fantastic.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see what other goodies you have for us.
All right, yeah. So I think, you know, just this all kind of leading in and bleeding into, you know, just creating remarkable experience. And I'll credit Seth Godin with this slide, because he showed us this video in a bit of like a speaking industry session that he led for a few of us. And this is just a snippet from Boston University's medical school. I won't show the video now. You can watch it after. It's really worth Googling though. Boston University med school graduation. And what they did was basically it came down to like, they knew their graduation wasn't going to look like previous graduations. They knew these students were going to miss it, but they were like, they didn't just try and again do the graduation online like it would have been done offline with all the speeches. What they did was they had every student from the school film the oath that you take or that they have students take, which is an oath around caring for patients and upholding the kind of like rules of the industry and so on. And so then they had people film it, they submitted it, and then they put together this montage video, which built kind of one person, then the next person, then everyone together. And this gets much bigger into like, you know, the hundreds of people. And they just created this beautiful moment that like, you know, with the exception of, I am positive that every single person watching this graduation live cried. And that's not a moment you have in a normal graduation. You know, I cry when my sister graduates, or you cry when your daughter or son graduates, but like not everyone kind of cries at the same time. So I think the fact that they looked at this, they flipped the notion on the head and were just like, let's create an amazing experience. Let's not worry about what it was supposed to be. Let's think about creating a brand new experience we can. And it was so cool just seeing this mosaic come together and this montage come together.
I've not seen this. It's awesome.
And so I think just the notion of yeah, you know, not thinking about how your event used to be, but thinking about, okay, this is our medium, these are our constraints. Let's think about how we create an amazing experience online now is a really, really smart way to approach it. And you end up with some great things like this. And another thing in like creating remarkable experiences, we've now touched on a few of these things, so I can breeze through it, but just, you know, finding those moments that are high touch, that still seem high touch within a presentation, whether it is breakout rooms or whether it is the follow-up emails that are a little more customized, or it is just simply following up on an event, which doesn't always happen. You get a survey after an event a lot of times, but you don't get like how was your experience? I care about your experience. Hey, did you hear this point? I thought it was relevant to you. So that those customized follow-ups, exclusive access, celebrity engagement, things like that. We're doing a lot of that right now for clients, helping them connect with you know, higher profile individuals to kind of excite and delight clients of theirs as well. And it's really cool. It's really intimate. People are taking the screen grabs just like you would take a selfie with the person if you were at the event, and those screen grabs are getting just as much love on social as the selfies used to. You know, we're in a whole new world, so those things really work. Yeah, those, you know, I think this is the place we're in and the place we need to be is thinking about creating these remarkable experiences online.
You know, it's interesting you talked about surveys, and I always say this to my clients whenever doing experience design, is the survey should always benefit the person doing the survey. So often it's phrased as, we would love your feedback. Most horrible line ever. If I could please never see that line again. I know you would love my feedback, obviously, but like, what does this do for me? And people are so busy, and it's funny you mentioned Seth Godin. I was going to quote him earlier, but like, if we're ever in the attention economy, we're in it now. And people need to have an impetus and an incentive to want to give you feedback. What benefits them? So like, hey, we're scheduling our next event. It's going live here. Our aim is to get, 200% more attendance or whatever. We want to see all of your beautiful faces come back. To do that, we want to make it better. Therefore, tell us the 3 things that you think would make this a killer event that would make you want to come back. Boom. I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, here are my thoughts. But if you just say, we want your feedback, excuse me, I don't have time. No one has time, right?
Amazing. That's amazing advice. That's a great thought. Totally have not thought about that myself in that same way. And you're just totally right. I think the notion of the survey should benefit, or the feedback request should benefit the person, and just being more honest with what you're trying to achieve versus some BS 1 to 5, fill out.
Or an NPS score. God, if I do another NPS survey, I might vomit. All right, so tell me more goodies.
All right. So I kind of like my last slide effectively was just, what our job looks like today. And so, I mean, this is just a snippet from our website of like, and you can see a link there in the top that I put to a resource that we've built. But basically, our job now, just building what we said earlier, is really, we see it as like helping our clients and helping our speakers create incredible moments. And so we've kind of retooled parts of our website to make sure that we're set up and being that support and offering that support. We have retooled ourselves to become experts in digital events. We were not 2 months ago. We are not today, but we have watched now thousands of hours of online events, participated in tons across our team, and really built a set of best practices and a set of opinions as a company, as individuals within the companies, on what those great things are. And so we've now become much more of event consultants than we were a couple of months ago, and we're pumped because that's also how we like to be valuable. We like to help our clients. We sure, from a sales perspective, we love doing a transactional booking for a speaker. That's great. If you know who you want, that's great. But we also really love helping clients get the right person and have the right fit and put on the right event and the best possible event they can. And so we're pumped to be able to kind of do our more pure version of our work on this right now in that sense.
So to clarify for everyone and whoever watches this in the future, Talent Bureau as a whole used to be a booking agency and represent talent. How are you transitioning? Are you now managing events? Are you strategizing events for clients? Who are your clients? Like, just kind of give the tactical understanding.
Yeah, we're at this point we're kind of doing it all in a lot of ways. But I think on one hand we're really going deeper with our booking clients that host conferences and events and helping them, like, so we recognize that they don't have all the answers. We don't necessarily have all the answers, but we know they've got a lot on their plates. So we're just helping them. We're trying to be a fountain of knowledge and resource for them to help them create better and amazing online experiences in this time. So we're being part event strategists with our clients and being helpful to them as they can. We're coaching our speakers more than ever to help them, be great in this new medium. And then there are other sides of our business that we do that are more active. So we've for years done branded partnerships and influencer marketing campaigns with our clients. And so that's just been a side of our business that we've really ramped up. And this comes just back to that entrepreneurial instinct of like, all right, we must lean into, for lack of a better term, the things that are going to drive our business right now. And so we've been a big player in that space for a long time, but it's always been just a fact of like, we know the right people, we provide the right value, we've let it go. Whereas we've really amped up the focus on that and have been doing lots more deals in that space. Just in terms of connecting the brands with the talent for what has been to date mostly online marketing, digital marketing, but although it's some traditional commercial stuff even over the past couple of months, but over our history in that space and in the future, lots of events as well.
Regarding influencer marketing, who are you working with now, and what do you see happening in that space in the next quarter?
Yeah, sure.
Is it going down?
This was the only I think I spent the longest on what encapsulates this world. This was the best thing I came up with. So there it is. No, I think that so in the space of influencer marketing and more so again, our focus in that space is nationally recognized names. We don't work so much with micro influencers and so on. It really is higher profile individuals that have a big following, and our role in that is to help get the most value out of that for both sides, certainly, but especially on the brand side or with the agency that represents that brand. So we work with lots, from American Express, McDonald's, to lots of like big sports brands, CCM, Bauer, groups like that. I think some other just off the top brands that we've worked with even just in the past few months. Good Foods, a food delivery service we've done quite a bit with. So there's quite a few there, and quite a few brands that we're actively kind of always working with. And we love that. We love that space, and we have just we really took some time to reflect and be like, all right, to crystallize, okay, what's our service offering there? Where is that value we provide? We know we've been providing it because clients keep coming back to us, brands keep asking us to help them with this, but we haven't, in the run of the business, things were good, and we've never had to stop and think about our approach. We never had to stop and crystallize what is it that we offer, how do we do what we do, and so this has given us that pause to take stock and to really think about it and crystallize that, and then offer it to more clients.
So I've seen some things online about influencer marketing and how it's taken a hit from COVID, but what are you seeing?
Yeah, the hit was very temporary, I would say, in some ways, in terms of like just everything took a hit from COVID. So of course, I'd say the influencer marketing space is a loud one, and there are so many influencers in it as well that you're seeing lots of chatter about it. But at the same time, everything just kind of stopped and slowed. So brands had a campaign planned for March or April. They just took a step back and thought about how they're going to be communicating, what voice they should be using, and maybe cutting something off. So yeah, did revenues drop in that space for a lot of people? For sure. But at the end of the day, like the economy is still moving. It's been changed, but it's still moving. Things need to happen. Things need to move. Products need to get sold off shelves. Brands need to activate and gain awareness. So there's lots and lots taking place in that space. I'd say the changes that have happened have been, I think it stopped some people again from maybe, it stopped some people from doing mindless, crappy content and made them think a little bit about, we should probably be a bit thoughtful right now. And that's good. I think some marketers who were just pumping out shitty content that stopped and thought about, wait, this needs to be a bit thoughtful. Hopefully that reshaped how they think about marketing, and hopefully they'll bring that thoughtfulness forward into the future of their careers. I think that's some.
I won't name the name. There's a certain influencer, AKA, famous person, that did a promo with a furniture company, like within a week of COVID hitting. And it was literally about staycations.
Yeah.
And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, this was so off point. And, we all saw examples of those, of how insensitive and inhuman things were. And the thing is, I think from my perspective and the work that I do, my whole mission is humanizing business. And before COVID hit, there was this transition we are experiencing as a society and cultures around the world becoming more evolved and aware, where we're transitioning from process-centric to human-centric. We're transitioning from this world just purely focused on efficiency and productivity. We're becoming more conscious, more aware of others, more loving, more kind. And as a result, we're becoming more human. And the companies that are taking on these human traits are doing incredibly well from foreseeing this hidden competitive advantage. And then COVID hit, and suddenly everyone was like, you need to have content that is, in line and relevant and conscious and time bound, and like suddenly now everyone's seeing the importance. So I'm very proud of that, and I am confident that it will stick for a while, and the research is showing that people want these messages of safety and trust and helping others. And I think that for all sake, if we were to look back and think about positive things that COVID has brought about in our society worldwide, it's helping us focus back on what matters. And I hope that happens in influencer marketing as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think one thing about influencer marketing that's important to think about is, we've in an influencer or a celebrity or what have you, it's like we've gone from like having a medium plus a message plus a creative team that crafts and everything else to like they're everything. They're the creator of the content. They are the billboard, whether the billboard is their Instagram channel or their following, and they are the talent being featured in it. That's a totally different realm we've ever been in before, and the opportunity with influencer marketing that I think over the past couple of years has just gone away is to your point, and it's crystallizing it really is with what you said, is it's the humanness of it that should be its best feature. Yet I think that so many brands and even influencers themselves have focused on the billboard side versus the personal side, that they've forgotten that they can actually connect better than anything else. Like there's no doubt that an influencer should be able to connect better with people than a billboard. Yet that's not necessarily the case in like 95% of the ads that we see. So why and how is that possible? And I think if we pause, both we in the industry and them, the individuals that do this and brands rethink and think about, wait, now how do I accentuate the person the human that this person is, and focus on that and focus on how they really do connect with their fans, and enable that. That's where we're going to see the rise, because it's unbeatable. It's unbeatable when if I've got my 86 followers on Twitter, if I do really connect with them in a great way, there's no doubt that that's way more valuable than a commercial featuring a huge celebrity or a billboard or anything else. It is real human connection if I can connect with them, but so little effort's been put into making that true connection for a lot of people in this space that we've lost out. So I think it's got opportunity to be more successful than ever and be bringing that connection that people want. But it comes back to hard work. It's not easy. It takes thought, it takes time, it takes plan.
Having worked with so many C-suite over the years, nearly 2 decades of doing my work around the intersection of process and people, what I have seen is that there is an easy divide between the companies playing the short-term game and the companies playing the long-term game. Yeah. If you're playing the long-term game, you're focused on connection and relationships. Why? Because the lifetime value of the customer is higher. It is more costly for a company to go acquire a new customer than it is to keep an existing one. But that's the long game. Now, if you're just trying to breach some metrics and shove processes down people's throats and exit the company, you can play the short game and you will probably win. And for the human race as we know it, it's always been this way. There are people playing the short game and there are people playing the long game. And I think in the future, you're going to have more loyalty, you're going to have more localization, and those things are going to be highly, they're going to contribute increasingly to companies playing the long game. Yeah. So people playing the short game, you're more transparent than ever. People are calling out the bullshit. Consumers are not dumb. Consumers see your automations. They see your fake advertising, and they'll very quickly go to a company that is more localized or more loyal to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Let's wrap this up with my question that I ask everyone, which is, what is the one thing you've learned over the last week? What's the most important thing you've learned?
The last week, don't let Michael Jordan have a grudge against you. Learned he holds a mean grudge.
Okay, wait a second. You have to tell this story.
No, that's related to The Last Dance. If for people who've been following The Last Dance on ESPN and Netflix, it's the documentary series on him. It's we've come to learn through this series that he's extraordinarily motivated by grudges, and it's a funny story. Just in terms like he'll make up a grudge against someone and then act on it. It's like someone will look at him, he'll take it the wrong way and then score 60 points that night. It's pretty funny.
Wow.
But from a business standpoint, I think that I think it's that the platforms are evolving. The technology is moving really fast, and this is what technology does great, and technologists do great, and is that the tech will be there to enable whatever an event creator can envision, and I think we should take solace in that and recognize it. These things are happening extremely fast, and focus on, we need to, the speakers, event planners, agents, people in this space need to focus on the human connection side. But hopefully the technologists are thinking about the human, and they are. They're starting to become more human as well in their design as they build these things. But we need to take it that step further and really think about the human side of it, designing experiences, and know that the platforms will be there to support it. And so I think that's maybe come up with a sense of calm where, technology is moving really fast and is getting there. There are some different platforms popping up that are just really getting there. So it's going to be looked after. We just need to create great experiences on top of them. And I'd say that's been my biggest kind of moment I've had.
I did not tell him to say that. At Toyota, we would say every operation should be designed first and then implement the tool to match the operation.
Right.
Where I see a lot of companies, even over the last decade, with the rise of entrepreneurship and venture capital funding and buzzwords like scale fast, 10x, growth, rapid growth, they do the opposite. They implement the tool and then change the operation to match the tool.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I think, from a business standpoint, where I would interpret what you're saying, because many business people don't understand when we say experience design, it's really just having deep customer empathy for what your audience is going through and what would be best for them, what would make for such an extraordinary experience. They love you, they rave about you, they care about you, they come back for a second time.
Yeah.
And every business wants that. And then implement the best tool that helps you achieve that, rather than implement the tool and then later, did everyone have an okay time? It's gonna not get the outcomes that any business owner wants.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree there. So,
well, you're great. Any wise words you want to impart before we head out today, or any giveaways you have for the crowd?
No, thanks. Good flag on that. I should mention, in terms of kind of resources, we just today launched with a partner of ours, Feminuity, and a guide to kind of creating accessible and inclusive online events. So it's at, I'll flip you the link if you can share it after, but it's talentpure.com/virtual events, and you can find it there. But it's a really cool guide. It's 5 different tips and points for how to create inclusive and accessible events online, and I think that that's something that people would, if you're in this space at all, should take a look at. And just thank you for the conversation and for you sharing as well.
And where can people find you, follow you, read you?
Yeah, for sure. On an easy place to go would be just talentpure.com, and there were lots of info there on the about page for even myself personally. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. You can become my 87th follower, I think, and everything. Find me anywhere. Googling the name. I'm not the Jeff Lohnes who has race cars and stuff like that, and souped up lawnmowers. But I'm the other guy who looks like me.
Awesome.
Looks like me with my non-cut hair for the past 3 months. But
we're all there, all of us. Well, thank you for joining us today, Jeff, for this episode of Reimagine the Restart. For those that want to continue this conversation, you can join the community at hilarycorna.com/contact. And we have a community of managers, leaders, in both entrepreneurs and corporations around the world that are really envisioning a better way of doing business. Fortunately, there's only one of me in the world, so you can find me at my name. On Instagram is where I'm the most personal. Twitter is usually where I'm the most funny and opinionated. And then LinkedIn is where I do the most writing. So whatever floats your boat there, come and join us. And Jeff, you're awesome. Can't wait to see what you do next, and can't wait to talk again in 90 days about events and influencer marketing.
Totally sounds good. My equation will have evolved by then. Thank you. Thanks so much, Hilary.
All right. Bye, everyone.